size from what you saw on film, and then how did that maybe affect you guys during the game tonight?
Yeah, there wasn't anything that, we don't do a lot of preparation, as you can tell, for these games. You know, more than anything, I thought they embraced the physicality of the game. I like how they use Garrison. I like their 5 out there. You know, Malachi's a guy that we recruited and put a lot of time into. And you know, he's got a promising future. But they have a good mix of athletes and then guys that can shoot. Those guys that came off the bench, I thought, you know, Jasper Johnson, you know, could have been the difference in the game. Like, made some big shots and made some big plays. But you know, I like what they do offensively. I think they're very similar to us in the fact that we got a lot of good shots today and didn't miss them, and that has to be a concern for them, right? When you look and you play hit and miss, and you're like, oh, we really guarded them. I don't know about that. I don't think there's a lot of defense out there. I don't think either team is going to get compared to the 85 Bears right now. And it's just, you know, you can't outscore people all the time, right? You got to have a good balance, and I think that's going to be an issue for both teams. I think both teams are pretty good offensively, but who can be better defensively, who can be better rebounding, and tonight it was them, especially rebounding. But like, I thought we did a good job of taking care of the ball. I thought we did a good job of getting good shots. We just didn't knock them down. But when we only turn it over 7 times, you need to steal some possessions there, but they only turn it over 9. So, you know, we grabbed 2 possessions there, and then they kick us by 12 on the glass. It ends up with 10 extra possessions being, you know, pretty much the game. But I thought they were, you know, the tougher team won, you know, and that normally happens like early in the year with this. I think they got a chance to have a good team.
Coach, over here on the side.
Matt, just in terms of the basics of what you want to do, what can you use from this in terms of the dribble penetration part of it, not giving up the that initial surge?
Yeah, like when people just get, you know, the blow-bys, like there's not a whole lot, you know, for that. Like our point of attack, where we're picking up the basketball, sometimes we can switch that up. Like, we were up on them, crossing half court, and then they had a couple turn downs in the first half that exposed us a little bit, but it was more just kind of navigating at 25 feet. You know, Chandler had that drive for the dunk. You know, Jasper Johnson is very, very twitchy, change of direction, change of pace, really keeps you off balance with his stuff. But they, you know, Ortega, you know, he's good, man. He's getting angles and working downhill. I know he didn't have a bunch of opportunities today because he didn't have a bunch of minutes. But more than anything, you know, you have to keep the ball out of the paint. And I thought Kentucky just did a better job than us of keeping the ball in the paint. But my thing is, it's not too much of a physical issue for me. It's more of a mental concentration. You got to concentrate and keep the ball in front of you. And sure, good players with quickness, with ball skills, are going to beat you at times, but they can't beat you all the time. And so, like, that's what you search out. Like that, we have to get, you know, that combination of balance on both ends.
Matt, you talked last week how you need your offense to set up your defense. How much was not making shots, getting your defense set, kind of exasperate the issues on defense today?
I think, you know, it was very similar with last year. You know, and I know it's only 10 offensive rebounds, but they dominated the defensive glass. But, you know, you can't go on a run if you don't get stops. And then if you don't make baskets, it speaks for itself. They're going on a run. Because if you're not scoring and they are, you know, we just have to do a better job of getting those kills, getting those 3 shutouts in a row to get that kill, and then you can get back into the game. So, yeah, there's no doubt that, you know, if you're scoring the basketball and you're constantly setting your defense, it's going to help you. You know, they do a good job of their kick-aheads offensively, and that's what we really wanted to stop. That's why we came out and took the ball and picked the ball up so they wouldn't get those kick-aheads, and they got it a couple times. But you can't stop kick-aheads when it's primary breaks, when it's 4-on-2, 4-on-3, 5-on-3, whatever, and then, you know, they took advantage of those. If they had made their free throws in that one stretch, it really, I know they don't have a lot of misses, but those 4 misses, 3 of them are right in that same stretch. And I thought we came out in the second half and we had a little pop to us, but that just off quickly.
Over here, Coach.
Obviously, you were looking at a lot of different lineup combinations tonight. Anything you took out of the stretches where Braden and Omer were playing together?
Yep.
And anything you took out of the stretches where Braden's out of the game and Omer's the one that's running things more?
Right. You know, you know, it wasn't like that we tried it or we like, you look at their minutes, like from their starters, you know, inside, besides Aberdeen, you gotta remember Lowe's not playing, that's why he's playing more minutes there. If Lowe was here, Lowe would be playing, I don't know if he'd play as much as those, but he really just did balance numbers. Like they, you know, they walked us, and look at the guys that we played. Like our top 3 guys from last year played 28, 31, and 32. And Aberdeen's the only one that has high minutes because they have to, because they don't have Lowe. So like this could have been worse, right? They could have played those guys, and he was trying to get a lot of people in there. You know, so for us, it's, you know, I like these. This is the 3rd year in a row we went on the road to play a game like this. We've played Arkansas, we played Creighton, and we've lost them all. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's really helped us. And doesn't feel that way right now, but it's really helped us because a lot of times in basketball you don't know early in the season your problems. You don't know your real problems, and we have real problems. I don't care where we're ranked. We have real problems, and I think that allows us to go back and practice. You know, eat our humble pie and try to get better so we can have a great season.
Okay.
How do you coach an incredible player like Braden Smith whenever he's having a little bit of an off game?
Say the first part again, I'm sorry.
How do you coach Braden Smith? He's an incredible player whenever he's having a little bit of an off night.
Yeah, just be positive with him and just, you know, when you do good things in basketball and you don't get a good result, you got to be positive. And a lot of times people that watch games, if you don't understand the game, you just go off of the results. And you're like, oh, what's wrong with them? You know, like offensively, I'm not worried about us offensively. We miss some shots, but defensively I am. And that's where he has to show better leadership along with our older guys and do a better job on the defensive end. But he's a great player. You know, I wouldn't trade him for anybody in the country. He's won a lot of games for us.
Coach, I'm curious, what attracted you to Malachi, and how did the player you saw tonight compare to the kid you recruited in high school?
Yeah, we recruited him a lot, and then when we got big guys, we had to back up off him. Doesn't mean we would have got him, but I actually told those guys right as they got the job, like don't, like a lot of times in AAU, like this is structure, right? What we just, like that's structure. In AAU sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of times, like you're playing out of structure. Like they're not practicing a bunch, right? And so like sometimes for big guys, it's just harder sometimes to be consistent, you know? So I told him right away, Foxy's one of my good friends. I said, man, take Malachi Moreno. He's gonna be good. Then they go and see him, and then sometimes he'd be, I just promise you, like he's got a lot of substance. He's a good kid. He's long. He wants to be a player. Just too many good qualities. Like when you have character and you have talent and you're 7'1", like, you know, just keep working with them, man. They're gonna be great. Sometimes it's when they're gonna be great, right? And so like guys get ranked, they're McDonald's All-Americans, and then you're like, hey, like what the hell's his problem? He had 4 against Auburn. Well, first of all, Auburn's pretty good. And second of all, he's 18, 19 years old, and that's just part of the process of learning and growing. But he's gonna help him win big. He's a good one.
Matt, you kind of already joked about your preparation or lack thereof. So this is kind of a two-parter. One, were you aware that Lowe was going to be out, that he wasn't going to play? And then kind of after that, what did you think of the guys who kind of stepped in with him out?
Yeah, well, I thought Aberdeen was good. I thought he took a couple ill-advised shots that'll get corrected in time. He kind of played through the crowd, right, and shot a couple of those pull-up threes. I don't think were great, but I liked his energy. I liked what he did. I don't know Lowe. Obviously, we're not in the league that he was in before, but I've watched him and I've read a lot about him. But great teams. And when things happen, you're going to get foul trouble. You're going to get injuries, and someone else is going to get more of an opportunity, and that's when you have to be ready to play. But from everything I've seen, he's going to be a good player. But that's the thing about being in a great program like Kentucky. Like next guy's up, and so. But you want to get him back, right? All coaches are greedy. You can't have enough players.
Okay, last one here.
Matt, I'm not sure we'll see you play with Braden and Trey on the bench at the same time again this season. Can you just speak to the experimental value of games like this too, to try to kind of figure some different things out?
Yeah, that piece is something that you're trying to get people in the game. I'm just trying to get people minutes, and it's hard because if you go at 8 and 12 or you go in between, But yeah, we were just, it wasn't as much, matchups. I thought I thought Daniel did some good things for us out there. I know Trey and Braden have played a lot together and done some things, but I thought, G did some good things. We got to do some better things on the defensive end, more than who's playing with who or who's getting there. But those guys have been great. Obviously they were both first team all league, for us last year. But we're trying to win our league. We're trying to go to a Final Four, and this was just the first step. And sometimes adversity can really help you, and hopefully this helps us.